Fever down! Bow, bow, bow!
No. Woo!
We find a way, baby.
Man, I think it's the next step up mentality as far as players. Our shifts keep changing. Everybody doing a different role, and so I think we all got the mentality where you give and you sacrifice, and I think that's what y'all see.
Aliyah Boston didn't need a long speech, just 6 words. Every game is a home game. Simple, bold, and straight from the heart. But don't get it twisted. This wasn't a fearless victory lap. This was a warning wrapped in a celebration, because the Indiana Fever, they just pulled off a win without Caitlin Clark on the court and nearly blew it in the process. It was tense, sloppy at times, but Boston stepped up, Mitchell caught fire, and somehow they held off a furious Dallas comeback to win 94 Dallas.
Yeah, I think for us, it's about knowing that basketball is a game of runs, and they made their run in that third quarter, and honestly, just continue to stay composed and take it each possession at a time is something that we've been working on. And so for us, that was our focus: is get a stop, go down and score, get another stop, and we try to get a kill.
The biggest surprise? It wasn't just that the Fever won without their superstar. It was how close they came to unraveling. This wasn't dominance. This was survival. And Boston's quote? That wasn't just a flex, it was a reminder that this team, for all the hype around one player, has something deeper, something real. But they're gonna have to fight for it every single night.
Finding out this morning that we probably need to hold out again today. It really is a day-to-day thing. And I think for us, making sure that we're prioritizing her long-term health and wellness. It's anybody who's had some of these types of injuries understand that sometimes it's a process. She's a quick healer, and she's been doing everything that she can to get back on the floor. So, we just want to make sure that we're hypersensitive to the big picture.
This was supposed to be the showdown. Caitlin Clark versus Paige Buchers, the #1 pick of 2024 against the top prospect of 2025, 2 NCAA legends finally squaring off in the pros. Dallas even moved the game to the American Airlines Center, home of the Mavericks, just to fit the hype. That's 20,000 seats, and they nearly packed it out. It was set to be a statement night, not just for the Fever and Wings, but for women's basketball as a whole. Social media was buzzing. Fans were flying in. People were calling it a preview of the next great WNBA rivalry. And then silence. Hours before tip-off, word broke. Caitlin Clark wasn't playing. That electric matchup everyone came to see, gone. Just like that. And now the pressure shifted completely. Could the Fever even survive without her? Could Boston and the rest carry that weight? That question loomed heavy over the court as the lights came up, and suddenly it wasn't just a game, it was a test.
Can't finish.
As a big, you gotta lean in. You can't be falling away.
McDonald has been outstanding.
2 nights before the biggest crowd of the season, the bad news hit. Caitlin Clark's groin injury had flared up again. The team played it careful, calling it a day-to-day thing. But anyone paying attention knew what that really meant. Clark wasn't playing, and nobody wanted to say it out loud yet. You could feel the air get sucked out of the room. Thousands of fans bought tickets for this moment. Some came just to see Clark and Buchers finally go at it. Now, one side of the headline was gone. No buzzer beater, no highlight duel, just a giant question mark. And it wasn't just fans scrambling, so was the Fever. They already got stomped by the Sparks the night before, and now they had to suit up again, minus their engine, in front of 20,000 people. The question wasn't just can they win anymore, it became can they even function without her. That pressure, it hit hard, and it was about to show. Let's rewind for a second, because the Fever didn't just stroll into Dallas with some quiet doubts. They walked in licking fresh wounds from a flat-out disaster against the Los Angeles Sparks. No Clark, no rhythm, no answers. Indiana looked like a shell of itself. The offense stalled. The defense sluggish. Aliyah Boston, their all-star big, barely touched the ball. It was a kind of game where the body language screamed louder than the scoreboard. They weren't just outplayed, they looked out of sync, out of ideas, and honestly, out of gas. So now imagine rolling that version of the Fever into a packed arena on a back-to-back without your best player, facing a team that smells blood. Everyone knew Dallas would come in hungry after their own loss to the Sparks earlier, but the Fever, they looked like the ones still stuck in that nightmare. Nobody gave them a shot, not after that meltdown. It wasn't just a bad game. It was a warning sign that without Clark, this team might not have an identity at all.
Allowed for the easy two.
And you down to Natasha, and she's going to get in the paint. And so the defense has to step up to protect the drive. And now she puts that air on the ball, and AB is able to finish that shot at the rim. That was beautiful.
Just when everyone thought they had the Fever figured out, Coach Stephanie White threw a curveball. No Clark? Fine, let's shake the whole board. Enter Ari McDonald, speed demon, defensive pest, and surprise starter. It was her first time getting the nod, and she didn't waste a second making it count. From the opening tip, McDonald brought a different kind of chaos. She pushed the pace, zipped through the defense, and made Dallas look like they were stuck in slow motion. Suddenly, the Wings couldn't just focus on Kelsey Mitchell. They had to deal with Ari attacking downhill and blowing up their game plan. That one lineup change, it opened up the floor in ways the Fever hadn't seen all season. With McDonald causing problems on the perimeter, Aliyah Boston finally got the space she needed to work inside, and boom, Indiana came out swinging, making their first 7 shots in a row. No hesitation, no Clark, no problem. It was fast, fearless basketball. For the first time in 2 nights, the Fever looked alive, and the Wings, they weren't ready for this version. But just when it looked like the Fever were cruising, Paige Bueckers reminded everyone why this was supposed to be her night too. Indiana came out hot, sure, but Dallas didn't fold. They adjusted, they regrouped, and then Bueckers flipped the switch. What she did next was nothing short of ridiculous. She dropped 27 points and made WNBA history with a stat line that had fans and analysts alike double-checking the box score: 25 plus points, 5 assists, 2 steals, 2 blocks, 0 turnovers. Read that again, 0 turnovers. This wasn't just a good game, it was a clinic. Midway through the third, the lead that once felt like a party started shrinking fast. Indiana's ball movement slowed, the confidence began to wobble. Dallas saw the crack and went right for it. Suddenly, the energy in that packed arena shifted from celebration to concern. Bueckers wasn't just scoring, she was controlling the tempo, forcing the Fever into bad shots and igniting her squad. With each bucket, the Wings got louder, and just like that, the game that felt like a breakout moment for Indiana teetered on the edge of collapse. With the crowd roaring and the lead vanishing, it felt like we were watching the Fever unravel in real time. This was the script from the Sparks game all over again. Momentum gone, defense scrambling and panic setting in. But this time, Kelsey Mitchell wasn't having it. She shifted into full takeover mode, dropping bucket after bucket like a woman on a mission. Pull-ups, drives, kickouts, you name it. She did it. She finished with 32 points on 11 of 17 shooting and added 7 assists, but it wasn't just the stats, it was when she delivered. Every time Dallas made a push, Mitchell answered, and right beside her, Aliyah Boston, locking things down in the paint like her life depended on it. She finished with 21 points and 8 boards, but her presence was louder than the numbers. Big rebounds, clutch free throws, critical stops. Boston did all the little things that keep a game from slipping. While Bueckers was lighting it up, Mitchell and Boston were flat out refusing to fold. This wasn't about flash, it was about grit. And when the final minutes hit, Indiana looked nothing like the team that collapsed the night before. With just minutes left and the game hanging by a thread, the Fever could have panicked. But instead, they found something deeper: toughness, chemistry, belief. Mitchell kept attacking. Boston started bullying defenders in the paint. Together, they strung together stops, grabbed gritty rebounds and made shots that silenced the Wings' rally. And when the final buzzer sounded, it wasn't just a win, it was a declaration. Indiana 94, Dallas 86. A victory on the road on a back-to-back without their superstar. Then came the mic drop. Reporters crowded Aliyah Boston, ready to talk about Caitlin Clark's absence or Paige Becker's big night. But Boston wasn't interested in that. She looked into the camera and said, "Every game is a home game." Just 6 words, but they hit like a drum, because in that arena, packed with Fever fans rocking Clark jerseys and screaming for every big play, it didn't feel like enemy territory. It felt like a team finding its identity, one that doesn't crumble without its star, one that feeds off its fans no matter the zip code. So if you felt that energy too, go ahead and smash that like button, drop a "I've got the fever" in the comments, and subscribe so you don't miss what this team does next. Because something's building in Indiana, and it's bigger than any one player.